So we looked at solving quadratic equations. Algebraically, we learned to factor them. Graphically, you just put them in the graph and you look for the zeros, right? There's other ways though, okay? So let's see. Let's do this quick review of this once again because this is what we did last time and we just reviewed it. So we write A equals, B equals, C equals. What's A?
1.
What's B?
3.
And what's C?
1.
Concave up or down?
Up.
Up. I know it's a smile, right? What's the y-intercept?
1.
Plug in x, right? So I'm gonna graph that one. Axis of symmetry.
Yeah. 3/2.
Nope. X equals negative b over 2a, and then I have to plug in my values. So negative, b is negative, so we're careful. And then 2 times 1, negative is a positive 2. Now you said 3 over 2, and I said no. Why did I say no? X equals an axis of symmetry is a line. If you write 3 halves here, you're showing you have no idea what's going on. Now how do you graph 3 halves? Oh, that's 1 1/2, isn't it? Yeah. So it's in between these two. So you do your best. You're going to have to be perfect. But right down the middle somewhere, I'm going to put this dashed line to represent the axis of symmetry. It's not part of the actual graph, but it's a guideline. So, wait a second. I have a point on this side of it, and it's 1 1/2 away. So 1 1/2 away, there's going to be another match. I got 2 points already. Now I have to find the vertex, which is that turning point. What's my x value?
3 halves.
3 halves. How do you know it's 3 halves? Yeah, that's this, right? And vertex always on this line. Vertex always on that axis of symmetry. How do you find the y value? Oh, what do I do? I plug in this x value into here. And so, who's real good with their fractions, right? You're going to have to do this. Right? Who wants to spend that century working that? Whoops, look what I got. I have a calculator. How can it help me do this really quickly? I'm just going to plug in this exactly into my calculator with the parentheses. 3 divided by 2 squared. Right, see the parentheses? Minus 3 times that 3 halves in parentheses. If I can get it to, here it goes. Plus 1. And then negative 1.25. I like that you're putting it back in fractions because we started. Remember how to change this into a fraction? Press that math button. Number 1 says frac. You can make it a fraction. It's negative 5 over 4. But if you left it at negative 1.25, that's okay too, because it tells me where it goes. Negative 1 and just a little bit away. Now before I find what the zeros are, how many will there be? 2. How do you know? Right, how do you know that? Yeah, it's a smile. I can see what's happening, right? It's going to be like this. So there's 1, there's 2. So there will be 2 zeros. So I know that. So now I have to find them. How do I do that? How do you do that? Set this equal to 0, right? X squared minus 3x plus 1 equals 0. And this is a type 1. A type 3. So it equals 0, x and x. All I need now is 2 numbers that multiply to 1 and add to negative 3. 2 numbers multiply to 1. Whoa, wait a minute. Well, now what do we do? I know there are 2 of them. Get a factor? What do we do? What do we do? Well, one way is the calculator.
Type 3.
We're doing it. Yeah, but I will get back to that. But what's another way? So this we're going to talk about another algebraic way to find zeros if it does not factor. Because if it does have nice integer factors, the zeros will not be nice integers. That's what this is telling me. They're going to be some kind of decimal number. So let's see. What? Yeah, that could happen. So we need to be able to find zeros other than factoring. Okay? So these are the 2 ways, algebraic ways we're going to learn. Calculator is there. That's true. But we're going to look at some other algebraic ways. This one today, this one next time. Love this. This is awesome. This thing. It is. Okay? What? Look at that quadratic formula. Here it is.
Awesome.
I'm not using that. Oh, yes, you are. X equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac whole thing over 2a. Got it?
Sure.
Right here again.
Sure.
Let me give it to you again. All right. X equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac whole thing over 2a. Got it now? Yes. No.
Yeah,
Stop
right.
saying that. All right. Yeah. Maybe. Now, yes. Okay. The good news is, but look at all what's going on here. If you have to constantly go back to that formula sheet, you're more likely to make mistakes than if it's in your brain. So I'm going to put it in your brain. This method works, and I know this group. You're not going to want to do it because I know you. But I have had almost a 100% success rate in getting this memorized if you do what I tell you right now. My geometry students that I see like next year, they all know the quadratic form. They don't forget it. You know how you're going to remember it? You're going to sing it.
Let's do it, boys.
You're going to sing it.
Let's do what you get to do.
Two now. Very shocking. No, we don't do this. So, we missed it on the singing on the recording, but you will be solving this equation when you use this formula. Because remember, you have to find x. Well, this is what x equals. This. And the a, b's, and the c's are the a's, the b's, and the c's. So what's a? 1. What's b? And c. And the equation we're trying to solve is this one. That's what the quadratic formula does. So how does it do that? So I've got my a, b, c. So x will equal negative b. See, b is negative. Plus or minus the square root of b squared. What is b squared?
Negative
9. Negative 3 times negative 3. B squared is always a positive number. Did you hear that? B squared is always a positive number. Any number squared is positive. So even when it's a negative b, look what happens. Minus 4 times a times c. Because here's a and here's c. All over 2a. Okay? So you're 1 after this here. Okay, so now let's reduce a little bit. Negative, that's a 3. Plus or minus, that's 4. That's 4, right? 9 minus 4. What's 2 times 1? So these are the solutions. There's actually 2 numbers. What are the 2 numbers? 3 plus the square root 5 over 2 and 3 minus the square root 5 over 2. That's what that plus or minus is doing. Does that answer your question about the plus or minus, Ryan? That's what the plus or minus is doing. These are 2 numbers. Now this is the exact solution. Now if I said go graph this, would you have any idea what that even is? I wouldn't. So you go to the calculator and say, let me estimate what that is on the calculator. So here's what you're going to do it with me so you kind of get that finger memory, right? So what is that? So you type in 3 plus the square root of 5. Press enter. Press enter now. Then divide by 2. It's approximately to the nearest 100, 2.62, 4. Did I do it wrong?
No, she didn't do it. No, you didn't.
But you have to divide by 2. You didn't do
divide by 2, okay.
I don't know if it's right. Look what I'm doing up here. Did you get the same thing?
I got that.
3 plus square.
Yeah, I
That's
got
this
that.
one. Now you do the other one. 3 minus the square root of 5. Press enter. If you don't press enter, you're getting the wrong answer. Divide by 2.
Yep.
0.38-ish.
Yeah.
To the nearest 100. These are the zeros. Now if you were to graph this, why not? Oops. This one. Is it x squared? X squared minus 3
plus
x plus 1. So look, 2.62, so it's a number between 2 and 3, yeah. And this one is a number between 0 and 1. So see, it's there. And if you use that little trace function or the calc function, it'll tell you that too. So I'm going to go a little bit to the left of that 0, a little bit to the right, press enter. See how I'm getting the same thing? So So use the quadratic formula. So first you set it equal to 0 because this is the equation we're trying to solve, especially right to finding zeros. So that's what I want. You can factor it, that's one way. You could graph it, that's another way. Or we're using the quadratic formula. It says it. So A equals, B equals, and C equals. Are you listening or even doing this? Okay. So then you do x equals, because that's this, x equals, negative b. It's a negative, negative 6. That's 6, right? Plus or minus square root of, what's negative 6 times negative 6? This will always be positive. Always, always, always when you have a positive number here. Minus 4ac. 4a is 1, c is 5. Whole thing over 2a. So let's see if we can reduce this a little bit. 6 plus or minus square root of 36 minus 20. B squared. Right, that's b squared. And then this is over 2. You get 6 plus or minus 36 minus, that's 16, right? Over 2. Whoa, 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 square root of 16. 4. This is a perfect square. How nice. 6 plus or minus 4 over 2. There's two numbers here. You've got 6 plus 4 over 2. You've also got 6 minus 4 over 2. Two numbers. You can. One thing I like that he mentioned that. He said, look, it's 2, and these are divisible by 2. This does equal 3 plus or minus 2. Absolutely. You can do that. A little bit easier, right? You can see the 5, you can see the 1, or do it this way. 6 plus 4 is 10 over 2 is 5. 6 minus 4 is 2. 2 over 2 is 1. Here's your solution. Oh, that was easy. I will say this. It is, what is also easy? Mess them up. So if you're the kind of person, I just go right to my calculator. I just go and I type stuff in, because I can't be bothered. You got to write this stuff out. My hint, here's a very strong hint. I like to do the b squared minus 4ac first. Get that number and kind of plug that in. Because sometimes if you do it all at once, it gets very confusing. Like if we were to do this one now. Yes, sir. Question? Try to get what? Here? Which one? Oh, 6 minus 4 is 2 over 2 and 2 over 2. For this one, like, here's A is 4, B is negative 7, and C is negative 2. So if I do B squared minus 4AC, negative 7, and then what's B squared if B is negative 7? Good, positive, right? 49 minus 4 times A times C, right? So be careful with this one now. That's negative 4 times 4 times negative 2. Let's do the signs first. Negative times a positive is negative, and a negative times a negative positive. So that's a positive. 4 times 4 is 16 times 2 equals, no, 9 plus 2 is 11, 81. Now, calculator, this kind of thing is hard for you. Just type this in your calculator. 49 minus 4 times 4 times negative 2. Okay? So that kind of work is hard. Just put it in the calculator. So I've done a lot of the hard work. I'm just pushing this one down here now. So it's going to be x equals negative b, negative 7. 7. Plus or minus square root of, I already did the hard work here, 81. All over 2 times a. What's that? 8. Does this make sense so far? Questions where that came from? 7 plus or minus square root of 81 is a nice perfect square. And so this is two numbers here. You've got 7 plus 9 over 8. You've also got 7 minus 9 over 8. 7 plus 9, 16. 16 over 8, 2. 7 minus 9, 8. 2 over 8. Which is negative 1/4. Do I have to simplify it? Yes. Those are the solutions. All right? I'm going to let you try a couple of these on your own. We're getting bent out of shape with this one. So we say it's x squared minus 8x plus 16 equals 0, right? So that means a is 1, b is negative 8, and c is 16. All right? So when you're taking my advice, let's do b squared minus 4ac first. So b squared, that's negative 8 times negative 8. Minus 4 times 1 times 16. Right? That's 64 minus 64 equals 0. Okay. So let's plug that into the quadratic formula. X equals negative 8. So negative 8. 8 plus or minus square root of 0 over 2 times a. Well, that's just 0, right? So it's 8 plus or minus 0. That goes away. So it's just 8 over 2. There's only one solution to that one.
See, you can't
Only
do 4
one
over
solution.
0.
What?
You can't do 4 0.
Can I do what 0?
4 0.
It's the solution to this equation is x equals 4. 0 is not a solution. If you plug 0 in, you get 0? No, it's 16. To be a solution, it means if you plug it in the x, you get a true statement. If you plug 0 in here, you do not get a true statement. Yes? It didn't ask for the ordered pair. If it said find the 0, you would be correct. It just said solve the equation. Oh, it does say find the zeros. Okay. I will take that for this one.
Oh, yeah.
You can, but you don't have to. You can just say it's this one. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Well, we're looking at this one. The quadratic formula only works for ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. So if you have something over here, get it over to the other side. In this case, I have the 9. This is what you're going to use. A is negative 2, b is 6, c is 9. But this number of zeros, I'm going to do this real quick only because we're running out of time. If you were to use the graphing calculator on this, you get something like that. So how many zeros? 2. 3. Remember, zeros are x-intercepts. This is not a 0. When does the function equal 0? This one looks like this. 1. It's touching. It's meant to be touching here. Okay, count 1. Now this one, you know what this looks like. It's the parent function x squared translated up to. Now I'm gonna say this. It has 2 real zeros, 1 real zero, and no real zeros. What do I mean by real? What does that mean? I'm actually talking about the real number system. Real number system. When you get to algebra 2, you will see that all of these have 2 zeros. It's just some of them may be imaginary. Okay, so do not worry about that. But I always say there's 2 real zeros, 1 real zero, no real 0, because we are looking into the future. I want you to have the right language. Oh, you use your imagination like crazy. All right, so these are the possible numbers of zeros, right? 2 or less. Now remember, what about x cubed, blah, blah, blah? What are the possible number of zeros? 3 or 2 or 1 or 0, right? So this, to a degree, tells you the maximum number, but you could have less. So the quadratic formula can help us figure out how many zeros it's going to have, how many real zeros. Using the discriminant, that's a big word for what? The b squared minus 4ac, inside here. You look inside here, that's called the discriminant. This little piece right here, b squared minus 4ac. And it's going to tell us how many real zeros a function can have, or how many real roots the equation can have. So, if b squared minus 4ac is a positive number, then you've got 2 roots. Now let's see why. Because if you're filling in negative b plus or minus a positive number, right? I'm trying the word positive for it, over 2a. So given these are all good numbers here, you're adding things. So you've got negative b plus the positive number over 2a, and you've got negative b minus the positive number over 2a. So there will be 2 solutions. See them? 2 real solutions. Now, if you go with b squared minus 4ac, and remember when we did that you tried came out to 0? How many solutions were there? Real solutions. What? Because what happens then? This b squared minus 4ac is 0. What's the square root of 0? 0. So if you're adding 0, does that do anything? the square root of negative 4? What number times itself is negative? None of them. So it's like garbage comes out, like crazy stuff. Can't do it, no real solution. Does that make sense? So, if you know b squared minus 4ac is a positive number, you have 2 solutions. If b squared minus 4ac is 0, you have 1 solution. Oh, not 0, solution 1. And if b squared minus 4ac is a negative number, there are no real solutions. Yes. Yes, because if this is for ax squared plus bx plus c, it's 2 or less solutions, right? Something like that. 2 or fewer. Yes?
So if I put on the calculator and say number.
Okay. There we go. It's a real number system. Real number system is a real thing. Okay, so these examples here, if I just want to know how many solutions. Now, first of all, if on the SOL they say how many solutions, what's a much easier way? Just look at it. Graph it and look at it, right? Graph it and see how many times it crosses or touches the x-axis. But they just want you to kind of do this for this exercise here. So you find the A, B, and the C, free, and you say, let's find the discriminant, and that's a big word here. Just remember that it's b squared minus 4ac, which is a good idea to find anyway. So 4 squared minus 4 times 1 times 3. Getting a positive number. How many real solutions are there to this equation? Now, if you want to find them, well, that's something else, right? So negative b, negative 4, plus or minus, I already did this hard work, over 2a. So that's negative 4 plus or minus 2 over 2. This is 2 numbers, right? It's negative 4 plus 2. What's negative 4 plus 2? Negative 2 over 2. And it's negative 4 minus 2. What's negative 4 minus 2? Negative 6 over 2. So you can pull that apart. That's easy to see, pull it apart. But there they are. How many solutions? A is 2, B is negative 5, and C is 6. So b squared minus 4ac is going to be negative 5 times negative 5 minus 4 times 2, 8 times 6, 25 minus 48. Negative what, 23? Yeah. Question? This one? Why?
Oh, no,
Yes, thank you. All right, so this one came out to negative. How many solutions? Under your b squared minus 4ac, you're going to have this. Right? How many solutions are there going to be? What's the square root of negative 23? What is it? I can't do it. No real number will work. There are no solutions to this one. No real solutions. I'm going to put it that way. No real solution. This one, not in that format, right? So let me subtract the 1 because this only works if everything is on one side and 0 is on the other. So b squared minus 4ac. So b squared is 4. Ooh, let's be careful here. Minus 4ac. So minus 4 times negative 1. Let me write it out. Let's work with the sign. A negative times a negative. Times a negative. Okay, so this is a minus 4. 0. You're going to have something, right? 2 plus or minus that over negative 2. So it is 1 solution. So you see what this is trying to say here? So you can use that discriminant to help you figure out. The other way, here's your grab your calculator and look, right? That's how you can tell. And then we have a couple of use tries here. So I want you to try to figure out how many zeros are there. So find the discriminant first. Use this analysis here. If it's a positive number, you have 2 real solutions. 0, 1, negative, none. And if it's 1 or 2, find them. That's what I want you to do here. And I'll also let you pop up the answers so you can kind of check your work.